Hey everyone, aloha and welcome to the 10K and 30-day live weekly webinar. I'm your guest host, Vanessa Simpkins from TakeYourPowerBackNow.com. Take your power back now, right now.com. And you're in for an amazing, special, phenomenal, fantastic treat because we've got a guest speaker all the way from the Netherlands joining us today. She's actually a real rock star. I'm telling you, a real live one. And we're going to be talking about how to go from surviving to thriving. What does that look like in your life, in your business, in your relationships when you move out of kind of freak out, worry mode and really into thriving? We're going to talk about that here today. And before I introduce my amazing guests, I want to make sure that you can all hear me and that this amazing technology works and I'm not just talking to myself because that would be kind of weird. So if you can go and type your name in the chat box, let me know your name and where you're calling from. That would be awesome. Let me know that it works. And for those of you who are new to the 10K and 30-day live weekly webinar, we do these every week. This is for you if you're a conscious entrepreneur, a spiritual entrepreneur, an online expert, somebody who maybe you're still working in a job and you want to like go for the gold and move to Hawaii and really create a portable, profitable business for yourself. If you're a want-to-be coach. Hey, Eileen is here. Woohoo! Eileen, is this the artist Eileen that you just sent me an email? I think this is. Hello, hello. And Elizabeth and Lotte from the Netherlands. Oh my God, I got those crazy Netherlands people joining, of course. Kinga is from the Netherlands. So welcome. You guys can all hear me. This is awesome. And yay, Eileen. I'm so excited that you're here. Okay. So let's get on with the show. I cannot wait to share with you all the amazing content we have and our guest speaker. And I'm also going to invite you to close everything down. You are here. Congratulations. You made it. Now be here. Right? So close everything else down and really be here. Show up. 90% of success is just showing up. So ask questions, participate. This is really your time. And let me introduce to you the amazing Kinga. Welcome, Kinga, all the way from the Netherlands. Rockstar, Kinga.
Hi, Vanessa. Hi, everybody.
Oh my God, it's so great to see you. I gotta let you guys know that actually Kinga is a real live rock star. She is the singer in a rock band. Isn't that true?
Yeah, that is.
Yeah. She's such a rock star. I love you. She's 35 years old. She's a singer. She's an author. She's an entrepreneur, psychologist, and a coach, multi-talented. She was born in Poland. She's been living in the Netherlands for 8 years. Since she was 8 years old, she's married to her dear husband, Robin, and she has 3 furry friends, 2 dogs and a cat. So I absolutely adore you. I'm also an animal lover. And I'm really excited that you're here today, Kinga, talking about surviving and moving into how to go from surviving into thriving. I know you have just a wealth of information, years and years under your belt as a psychologist. So I'm really excited to kick this off. Welcome.
Thank you, Vanessa, for this generous introduction and for having me. I'm also very excited because I have tons of information to share with everybody. So am I coming across okay?
Yeah, we can hear you. We can see you. Rockstar. This is
great.
Rockstar Kinga. This is your show now, so I'll let you take it over.
Okay, thank you. You know, guys, it's my mission to help people to live happy, healthy lives. So I made this training for you. And I want to let you discover how to eradicate negative impact of stress on your health and life, how to experience more freedom, and what you can do to be truly happy. So that's my goal for today in this online training. But there's more. There's a little bonus, a special offer at the end as well. It's also a free offer. So stay tuned to hear all about that. And I would also love to read your comments, your thoughts, your questions. So please write them down. So let's get started. I'm going to share my screen with you now.
Awesome.
So let's do this and let's do that.
Got it.
Welcome to this training. I want to welcome you to the official part of this webinar training on how to get from mere coping and surviving to really thriving. But before we start the training, let me tell you a little bit about myself, so you know who I am and why you should even be listening to me. So, as Vanessa already told you, my name is Kinga de Wit and I was born in Warsaw, the capital city of Poland, but have lived most of my life in the Netherlands. I'm married to my dear husband, Robin, and we have 2 dogs and a cat.
Your dogs are so damn cute.
Yeah. The dogs are Max and Johnny, and the cat is Tara. And I've been a coach literally all my life. I love to talk to people, even as a little girl. I love to help people understand each other and themselves and help them resolve their issues and inspire people. So I've been doing that basically all my life. And I always dreamed of becoming a psychologist or a singer. And, well, I'm actually both right now. So I sing in the rock band, as you said, and I have my own coaching practice, which is called Wellness in Mind. So growing up, I was a very sensitive and strong-willed child. Both qualities weren't really understood nor stimulated, and I was expected to behave in a certain way to be accepted and not to be yelled at. So in order to survive, I suppressed my emotions and became this quiet, withdrawn, well-behaved child who was overly serious and unhappy. My parents divorced when I was 4, and when I was almost 8 years old, my mom and I moved to Holland to live with my stepfather, which meant a dramatic change for me. I had to leave my family and friends behind, I didn't speak the language, and my stepfather challenged me to face my fears. So I adapted and did what was expected of me. And at a very young age, I got disconnected from who I truly was. I did what I needed to do in order to survive. And this book that you see here is a book of poems of mine that came out in 2011. So it's all about my life, really. So as you probably can imagine, the first half of my life was pretty hard. I felt depressed and heavy-hearted most of the time. I felt stuck and lonely. I was stressed out, anxious, and I was plagued by chronic pain and low energy. But I was able to turn that all around. So since then, I'm on a mission, you guys, to help others to do the same, because it is possible.
And
And
you know how interesting it is that it's always related? All of these chronic diseases, the pain, the fibromyalgia, the blah, 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 all this shit is always connected to emotions, yeah?
Absolutely, yeah, spot on, Vanessa. So, the topic of this training, from surviving to thriving, is very close to my heart. I see a lot of people struggling with everyday life, just going through the motions, feeling stuck, being run by negative emotions, obligations, and responsibilities.
Mm-hmm.
And as you now know, I not only witnessed that, I also experienced how that feels myself. I've spent the majority of my life trying to please others, taking care of everyone else but me, dealing with chronic health and family issues, and managing my life just enough to survive. I was also highly ambitious and did my best to amount to great things, at the cost of my own health. And I just kept going. I was like the superhuman, And of course, the big goal always was to find my happiness. But I wasn't happy. Because on top of feeling absolutely exhausted, depressed, and anxious, I suffered from a massive burnout.
Yeah.
My body one day just said, stop. And that was a huge wake-up call for me. I knew things needed to change and that I was the only
Anyone else ever have a wake-up call? Right?
Yeah.
This is how we kind of move into the next dimension, the next evolution, the next expansion. Something arrests us in our life and says, sorry, you can't keep going on like that. Even if you keep trying and you're like, no, I'm just going to keep pushing through, smack down, right? You have a major wake-up call.
That's how it works. Yeah.
And it's always the best thing. It's like, you're always thinking, oh my God, we're going to die. But it's like, no. The old you is going to die.
Exactly. It's a great opportunity to reinvent yourself, really.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided right then and then that things would be different from then on. And, I decided to focus on my own needs and take care of myself for once. It was time to put myself first and let the past go. And now this obviously was a process and it took me years to get to that point. The burnout was just the last step, basically. And it doesn't have to be that way. It doesn't have to be such an uphill battle. And now I want to tell you a little story about my beloved cat, Tara, and how she helped me in this process and what lessons she taught me. Hey, where's Tara? Here's Tara. So, because of my burnout, I had to admit to myself that I, too, have my vulnerabilities and limitations. Before that, I was Supergirl. My body, yeah, really. So my body had forced me to take rest. And as a psychologist, I turned out to also be only human and not immune to psychiatric disorders. But even though I was exhausted and unable to work for a while, I felt restless, rushed, and hyped up. I was like angry all the time, like rah! And I was so tired, I couldn't even sleep, and I was too sick to go to work. Still, I couldn't sit still for more than 5 minutes. And that's when my cat intervened. One day, yeah, really, this is a true story. One day she saw a short window of opportunity and managed to install herself on my lap just as I had turned off the TV and was about to get up again. At that moment, I had a choice. Stand up anyway, or sit still for a while with Tara on my lap and nothing else to do than to pet her and enjoy the silence. Well, enjoy the silence wasn't something I was used to back then. It was quite frankly the first time in a long time it was quiet around me. But I chose to stay seated and enjoy the tranquility. I focused on Tara. I felt the love I have for her and how nice it was to sit there with her and be really present in the moment. I hadn't experienced something like that for a long time, if ever. So since then, I've mastered the art of doing nothing and being mindful. Really.
Listen, I make me laugh, but it's so true. You know, you can be this reactive thing to
I
life,
know.
reacting to everyone, or just really being. You know, being in the moment, being with nature, being with your cat. It is simple. It sounds so simple, but it's so powerful.
It's so important to be able to do that. And I didn't even know, I was always busy doing something useful, So I am now able to recognize how important it is to just kick back and relax.
Yep.
And I love to pass that on to my clients.
Mm-hmm.
So to this day, I'm grateful for these valuable lessons that Tara taught me. That, you have to be mindful and present in the here and now, make conscious decisions, to be still with myself, focus on me and feel what's going on within and act on that, and to relax and do nothing.
I think this is one of the hardest things, okay?
Yeah,
to focus and actually feel what's going on. I think a lot of people busy themselves all day long so they don't have to feel, or they numb out their feeling with drugs, alcohol, sex, porn, whatever you got, you know what I mean? And not feel, or they feel something and they just ignore it. So do you have any tips on how people can tune in?
Well, avoiding your feelings is really a big issue because they have nowhere to go. So they get stored inside your body. So that's where all those, psychosomatic problems come from. So basically, some of the things that I'll be covering in this training are just about that. So I'll be getting into that. But it's really important to just, the first step to realize, to be aware of the importance of your emotions. Your body, your feelings are communicating with you. And if you keep silencing them, it's like you're saying to yourself, shut up, I don't want to listen to you. You're not important enough. So don't do that. You are important. Your feelings, emotions, everything is important. Acknowledge that.
Mm-hmm.
So, moving on. So, after doing years of self-discovery work and also working as a psychologist and helping others to overcome the struggles, I started to notice a pattern. Each and every time, the same kind of root cause of the problems that people were experiencing kept coming up. So I thought to myself, wow, I must be onto something. So I started to investigate and did case studies to find out if my hypothesis was right. And what I discovered was the one real problem underlying all other problems and the secret to being happy. And this is what your question was all about. So since then, since I discovered this secret to being happy, I've been developing, creating, and perfecting my breakthrough formula for happiness, which I now call my wellness breakthrough formula, and which I teach in my online program. And I want to share the secret to becoming truly happy with you today. And the secret is this. The one and only real problem people have underneath it all, whether they're depressed or anxious or stressed out, obese, unhappy, and stuck, it always has something to do with their self-love. So the secret is to love yourself first. And most importantly, be true to yourself. Be the authentic you. You can still adapt and be a responsible, fun human being without compromising your integrity.
You can just you can just drop that there, like you put your cup of coffee on the table. That is a huge novel chapter to investigate, that you don't have to compromise your integrity and how you feel to get what you want. That is such an important key. You do not have to compromise how you feel, who you are, your values in order to get what you want.
Yes, exactly.
This belief, this idea actually allows you to open the door to even pursue the things that you want.
Yeah. So, staying true to the authentic you, that inner voice, your guidance system or intuition, however you want to call it, this is the key to being happy, to being healthy, and to being successful, as you just said, Vanessa. So if you're struggling, find out where there are glitches in your self-love. This can have something to do with a negative self-image, limiting beliefs, being hard on yourself, expecting too much of yourself, overstepping your boundaries. So think about it for a minute for yourself. You won't be able to take good care of yourself when you don't like yourself. You won't have authentic, deep connections with others when you're constantly trying to please others and wear a mask and you're not true to yourself. You won't be able to set boundaries and stand up for yourself if you're feeling unworthy. So underneath it all comes down to self-love, sufficient self-love, self-compassion, you know? So when I discovered all this and worked on it myself, I decided to create a wellness breakthrough formula that focuses on you being the authentic you. Because in my experience, when you start loving yourself, allow the wounds from the past to heal, and you change your attitude towards yourself and others, everything will fall into place. So let me tell you in some more detail what I mean by that and how I translated my discoveries into an online program. Now, this program is called Breakthrough to the Vibrant, Happy You. You see, my online program helps people to get absolutely crystal clear about their passion, purpose, and mission in life and how to achieve their goals. But, and this is very important, without getting so attached to the outcome that they end up feeling depleted and disappointed when they actually reach their goals. Because it's not about the goals, it's about the journey. So you learn how to appreciate what you have and work towards what you want. I also help people to break through negative and limiting beliefs, blocks, and patterns to truly take control over your life and create the life you want. I teach people how to effectively deal with stress, anxiety, and frustration, and how to make conscious decisions. We also concentrate on healing wounds from the past, and we work towards realigning with the truth of your whole being.
You've got to clear the past. That's we talk a lot about that. What are you letting go of? What's not serving you? What do you need to let go of in order to, really step into this next version of you? So important. You can't go forward while you're bleeding, right? And you
exactly.
put a Band-Aid on there. This is festering. smells bad and it's pussing. You're like, I'm okay, man. I'm great. No, you really have to, take stock, take time to do that. It's all happening inside.
There's a great story I heard once that when you're walking through the desert and a snake bites you, the one person will be very angry at the snake and will, say angry things to that snake and then die, and the other person will suck out the venom and survive, right? So it's all about how you deal with the stuff that is handed to you.
Good point.
So my program also emphasizes a holistic approach. So the balance between all areas of your life and a healthy lifestyle. And the ultimate goal I have with this program is to help people live their life from a place of authenticity and real joy and abundance. So that's my goal for you. So I want to share a little bit of that program with you. So let's take a look inside. From the very beginning of the program, you'll get full access to the members page where you can find all the information and training videos. Now, this is an example of the self-love module. You can see videos of me explaining things and some additional information and exercises as well. Since self-love is a big topic in my program, there's also a mini course on self-love. And the content of the whole program is a mixture of different ideas, therapies, models, philosophies, and coaching tools. It's specialized knowledge translated into bits and pieces of easy-to-consume information and exercises. But that's not all. What I've learned throughout the years working as a psychologist is that providing people with the right knowledge and tools is not enough. Most of my clients know very well what it is they should be doing in order to feel better or make healthier choices.
But they don't do it.
But they don't do it. So it's my conviction that people sometimes need a helping hand and someone to motivate them and hold them accountable. Having someone beside you who's already been where you are really makes a difference. So that's what I do in my program, and I love cheering people on. So for this program to be really effective, my clients get all the support they need, even daily, through different media. They have a chance to learn together as a group as well as individually. And it's important to me to create a warm and safe environment where my clients can ask me questions and benefit from empowering peer support. So everything that I'm offering, I'm practicing myself as well, because I strongly believe that you have to practice what you preach. So to fully appreciate what this program can do for you, I want to show you the results of some of my clients and myself, because I did this myself. So remember the beginning of my journey, my circumstances, the changes I went through, the trials and tribulations. Well, look at me now. These are my results. I managed to turn my life around by making shifts in my mindset and taking action. And I am finally me and truly, truly, truly happy. What I do is aligned with who I am, and that feels so great. That's real freedom and joy right there. But that's not all. I can now not only accept and love myself and be truly happy. The greatest blessing for me is to be able to help others to do the same. Well, so here are some tokens of appreciation from my clients. I absolutely don't promote getting gifts from my clients, but I am really thankful for them. And I collect them all in a special place at my home office. Now, this is a testimonial from one of my clients. She states that I helped her in taking the final step towards launching her own coaching practice. And that's absolutely amazing. I'm so unbelievably proud of her. So here are some more testimonials. The first one says, from our first contact by telephone to the very last session, the conversations with Kinga were a very, very pleasant experience for me. I had a good feeling about her right from the start. I felt like she was really listening to me. She asked me challenging and confronting questions that made me think, and I mean really think. I thought this program was a once-in-a-lifetime experience. I have become a better person because of working with Kinga. So, when I read testimonies like that, it's so moving. I often cry at my desk. It's it's amazing to be able to help people on such a deep and profound level. Love and happiness are the two things that just grow and expand when you share them. So that's my mission. So this kind of happiness and success, this level of embracing the real you and letting your authenticity shine through is what I want for you too. And I know the same transformation is possible for you. So what I try to do is make my knowledge and help as accessible as I can. I'm pretty active on social media, especially on Facebook. So if you haven't visited my page already, you can find the link on my site or just type in Wellness in Mind in the search box on Facebook. I'm devoted to posting something inspiring on there daily. On Facebook and my YouTube channel, you can find short, informative, and fun videos with all kinds of tips and tricks, absolutely free, just waiting for you to watch. I also have a book on Kindle for coaches and healers who have a hard time charging what they're worth. It's like $1.99 or something. And there's a training on the 5 biggest energy leaks men and women have and how to avoid them that you can get also for free by subscribing to my monthly newsletter, which is also packed with tons of useful information and tips. You can opt in by visiting my website and getyourwellnessbreakthrough.com. So I was also featured in some magazines, and that's really fun for me. One of them is called Margriet, and it's a Dutch magazine that's primarily read by women and often found in, for instance, waiting rooms at doctor's offices. And I had the honor to be interviewed twice by a journalist of that magazine. One article was about perfectionism and the other one about letting go versus having control. So if you'd like to read that, please email me so I can send you a copy of that. And in January 2017, my personal transformational story is featured in the very first issue of the Missing Piece magazine. So I'm very honored for the opportunity to share my story with tens of thousands of people and hopefully inspire them to pursue their dreams and find their happiness. That's like my big message. It's possible for everybody. Well, that's quite enough about me. Let's get to the really juicy portion of this webinar. So, who is this training really for? This training is for you if you want to eradicate the negative impact of stress on your health and life, and who doesn't want that? If you want to free yourself from expectations and feeling stuck, and learn to love yourself, or at least take steps towards loving yourself and turn your dreams into reality as soon as this year. Okay, let's get busy. And let's start with stress. Now, I know most of you know that stress in general is bad for your health. And as you also know, it's my mission to help people become happier and healthier. So, for the last 10 years, I've been emphasizing how harmful stress is and even demonizing it. But I recently came across a video on TED Talk by a psychologist named Kelly McGonigal, which mentioned a study that changed my mind about stress. And I want to share these new and very recent findings with you because they could literally save your life. Now, this study tracked 30,000 adults in the US for 8 years. And they asked people, how much stress have you experienced in last year? A little, average or a bit, or a lot? And the second question they asked was, do you believe that stress is harmful for your health? And then what they did is they tracked public death records to find out who died. This is what they found. People who had experienced a lot of stress over the past year had a 43% increased risk of dying. Well, that probably doesn't surprise you. But That was only true for the people who also believed that stress is bad for your health. People who experienced a lot of stress but did not view it as something harmful were no more likely to die.
So belief is everything.
Absolutely. So those people, in fact, had even the lowest risk of dying of anyone in the study. So people don't actually die from stress, but from the belief that stress is bad for you.
Inner world creates your outer world.
Yeah. So the follow-up question is, can changing how you think about stress change its impact on your body and health? And the science says yes. When you change your mind about stress, you can actually change your body's response to stress. So imagine feeling the symptoms we normally associate with stress or anxiety. Heavy or shallow breathing, sighing, increased heart rate, feeling rushed and sweaty. But what if you viewed them instead as signs that your body is getting energized and is preparing you to meet this challenge? Now, this is exactly what participants were told in a study conducted at Harvard University. Before they went through the social stress test, they were taught to rethink their stress response as helpful. That pounding heart is preparing you for action. If you're breathing faster, your body is getting more oxygen to your brain. Those participants were less stressed, less anxious, and more confident. What was different as well was their physical response to stress. So normally, when under stress, your heart rate goes up and your blood vessels constrict. This is one of the reasons that chronic stress is sometimes associated with cardiovascular disease. It's not really healthy to be in this state all the time or for long periods of time. But in the study, where participants viewed their stress response as helpful for the performance, their blood vessels stayed relaxed. So their heart rates went up, but the physiology of this stress response now resembled that of a moment of joy or courage. So what can be concluded is that one biological change over a lifetime of stressful life events can make the difference between a stress-induced heart attack at age 50 and living well into your 90s. So these studies revealed that how you think about stress matters. So what I would like you to do is no longer try to get rid of your stress and think of it as harmful and unhealthy, but rather shift your mindset into embracing the stress response as being helpful in rising up to the challenge before you. Stop stressing about stress. Okay, so that was a big one. I just saved a lot of people from dying, I think.
I think so too. Belief is everything. How you change your thinking about something, you change your life.
Absolutely. So, okay, the second key I want to talk to you about has much to do with freedom. And freedom is, to me, like the most important thing. But how can we obtain a sense of freedom in our current society that's built around rules, legislations, responsibilities, and expectations we're supposed to obey and follow? Again, I want to demonstrate the power of our thoughts, and especially the language we use in creating more freedom. Now, you may have heard people say, it's not about what you say, but how you say it. For instance, when you want to criticize somebody and you do it in a judgmental way, chances are you won't accomplish anything. The person you're criticizing will probably feel offended or under attack and won't be open to your comments or suggestions. However, if you give your opinion in a respectful way, following the rules of feedback, the chance that the other person will be willing to listen to you and maybe even do something with your feedback is much greater. It's all in the way you bring it. So the language we use while interacting with other people is pretty defining for the outcome of our communication. For instance, when you say to somebody, "You're so selfish," it feels like you're defining that person, as if it's his or her identity, a characteristic, and they won't be able to do anything about it and just feel mad, offended, or hurt. But when you give feedback on their behavior and state that it's your opinion of them, they might think about your comment. Either way, you're entitled to your opinion. An example could be, "If you do it like that, it comes across to me as self-involved, and I really don't like that." That's your opinion. You can have your own opinion. So the words we use in communication are very important, but the words we use in our internal conversation are just as crucial. Think, for example, of the way you talk to yourself when you've made a mistake. Are you kind and considerate with yourself? Or do you think things like, "You're so stupid, no wonder nobody likes you, you'll never be able to accomplish anything"?
You know,
What?
this
Yeah.
is really huge. I heard somewhere a quote yesterday that was so powerful. And if somebody was saying, you know, we're so quick to forgive other people,
Mm-hmm.
but what about ourselves? You know, we go kicking and
Exactly.
screaming and beating ourselves up all the time, but quick to forgive others, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. So what kind of impact do you think this kind of conversation has on a person, right?
Everything.
So exactly. So instead, it's better to be compassionate with yourself, as you would be with other people.
Yeah.
Now, why don't you treat yourself the same way? So you could think when you make a mistake, I didn't handle that very well. I can learn from this, or next time I'll know and do better. So I'm sure you can imagine a whole different outcome from thinking this way, right? So would you be open to new challenges when you're thinking, "Next time I'll do better"? Of course you would. Would you still feel good about yourself? Sure. Would you achieve your goals? Of course. Mindset is everything. Again.
Yep, and we're talking about moving from surviving to thriving and having that kind of inner landscape and inner conversations that are supportive instead of judgmental. You know,
Mhm.
how you feel creates your actions in life. So this really is everything.
Yeah. And of course, there are, reasons behind this kind of internal dialogue. There's a root cause for beating yourself up or being overly negative towards yourself. But it's beside the scope of this training to get into that. In my online program, we do explore the causes of problematic behavior and reasons behind negative thinking. But for now, let's focus on something that our viewers can use in their lives right now. So let's consider, and we're talking about freedom here, freedom of mind, really. Let's consider the phrases "I must" and "I should." There are some variations to these phrases, but what these two always do is elicit a stress response. The word "must" means you're obligated to do something and you don't have any choice. And it also has a terrifying ring to it, like something catastrophic will happen when you don't do it. So what will happen? The ground will open up and we'll fall into hell or something? No, of course not. And some people are kind of allergic to these words and say, "I don't have to do anything, so I won't, and you can't make me." And then they act in a cocky and defiant way, and that's not something I want to promote. So when you say that something should be done or should be done in a specific way, for instance, people should be on time. What happens if you believe that? What happens when they aren't? How do you feel when you think something should or shouldn't happen and the opposite happens? You feel bad.
Yeah, it's just a lot of expectation.
Yes, so each time reality doesn't meet your expectations, you either get disappointed or frustrated. So thinking that things should be a certain way causes us stress each and every time.
So how do you move people from where they are now to where they want to be? You know, where there's not judgment. Yeah.
Yeah, let me tell you. Everything you do is a choice. So now consider your own life. Are you hearing me well? Because I have some feedback.
Something happened where I'm not hearing you so well.
Okay, is this better?
Oh yeah, now I can hear you.
Okay, great. So, you know, using these phrases is like giving your power away and putting yourself in a victim role. Most people don't like the feeling of not having control over their life. By using these phrases, you actually play a stressor into your brain. Your body then thinks something life-threatening is going on and prepares itself for action. But in our daily life, under actual we're not in
Hey
life.
Kinga, something happened. There's an echo now. People are saying there's an echo with you.
Yeah, I hear that too. I hear myself.
Are you close enough to the computer?
I am close to. Yeah.
Okay.
So how do we fix it?
Kinga?
Can I do something about technical stuff?
To me, you sound good, but people are saying there's too much feedback. There's an echo on your end. You sound good to me.
Okay, yeah, I hear the echo too.
I don't hear your echo. To me, you don't have an echo, but sometimes you're coming in and out. So I don't know. Let's keep going and see if it continues. Maybe it'll just go away.
Let's hope so.
Okay.
So when you get that stress from saying to yourself, you know, I must do something, I should do something, you can feel powerless, stuck in life. And this can result in kind of where people feel before a very important exam, for instance. The thinking, I must pass, and end up feeling not able to concentrate and reproduce what they've learned.
Okay, before we keep going, do you have a set of earphones or something, Kinga, that you can put on, or headphones?
I do.
Try that. See if that helps.
I do have them here.
And because you don't have another window open, do you, or something, with this webinar in it? Sometimes people like open up two windows and they reverberate back. You don't. Yeah, no worries. I'll put myself on the camera while you find those. We have a few questions too. Geraldine says something's going wrong. The feedback is terrible. I don't hear any feedback on mine. It sounds perfectly fine to me. Maybe if you guys on the other end can hit refresh and see if that helps, but King will find some earphones. So there's a few questions that people have, you know, but let's just test out and see if that sounds better. You let me know, Kinga, when you've got your earphones on.
Yeah, I have my earphones on.
Okay.
So is that better?
Yeah, let's find out. You sound great to me now, so why don't we just keep going and sounds good.
So let's move forward. What can we do about this disempowering, freedom deprivated cycle that so many of us find ourselves stuck in? Well, let me tell you first that there is absolutely nothing for no one that must or should be done. It's quite possible that you disagree with me at this point. So let me give you some alternatives for these phrases and let you experience the difference. These are the alternatives. I want, I can, I will, or I'm going to. There's a difference, a big difference between feeling obligated to do something or making the choice for yourself. For instance, observe how your body reacts when I say, I must perform outstandingly on this webinar. Do you feel that? As I say that, are you hearing me?
Yeah, we can hear you. They're saying that
Okay.
you still have an echo, but I don't have a, is her volume is high or something? Try turning your volume down a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
Kinga.
Is
Elizabeth
this
says
better?
it's fixed.
Mm.
Hold on a second. Elizabeth says it's fixed. I don't know.
Okay, so some people experience the echo and other people don't
I
hear.
don't. To me, you sound, it's, oh, people say it's better now. Okay, there you go.
Okay. So there is a difference between saying I must do something or I would really want to. You know, it's a choice. So it's really a difference you can feel in your body, because when I say I must perform, you know, I immediately feel a tightening on my throat, my heart starts beating faster, and I feel a little anxious. But when I say I'm doing my best to perform on this webinar and I would love to inspire people, you know, I feel a lot different. It's all in the language you use and the shift in your mind that it causes. So what about, you know, our responsibilities, for instance? How can we get freedom, you know, in our thinking when we just, you know, need to do some things like getting groceries? Well, let me ask you, is it absolutely necessary to go shopping today? Does your life depend on it? No. You probably have enough food to last you up to a week. You can ask somebody else to get them, you could go out to eat, or even not eat for a day. But if you want to cook a nice meal, stack up on your supplies, or it's the sensible thing to do, then you want, can, and are able to go shopping for groceries. So it's not an obligation. Are you still hearing me, Vanessa? I don't hear anything anymore.
Oh yeah, I'm
Oh,
still hearing you. What I did is I just for some reason I put myself on mute because I thought, I don't know, maybe the echo is happening because it comes out of my computer and goes back in or something
okay.
weird. So I just put myself on mute. And everyone's
Okay,
saying,
great.
yes, yes, it's okay, it's fine, it works now. So I'm just going to keep putting myself on mute. You just keep going because you sound great and people are loving the content.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay. So how about, for instance, when you're a mom, you know, and you want to take care of your children, and you're thinking to yourself, well, I have to take good care of my children, you know, it's my obligation, it's my responsibility. Well, let me start off by saying, I hope that's important to you. But everybody has his or her own notion of what that looks like, right? And there are parents who intentionally neglect or even harm their children. So it's not a universal law or obligation. You can think it should be, but if it was, everybody would obey by those rules. And this isn't simply not the case. So it's your choice to take good care of your children and everything that that entails. So at one time, I had a client from Iran, and he had some strong convictions that were really stressful for him. So I told him, you don't have to do anything. We live in a free country, right? And then he replied with a very surprised look on his face. But miss, enlisting in the military was indeed an obligation. So I asked him, what would have happened if you hadn't enlisted? Well, he thought about it and then he said, well, I would have been sentenced and go to jail. So, okay, which option do you prefer? You see, everything you do in life is a choice. Even if it means you're doing things that you really don't want to, but you do them because you want to avoid the negative consequences. It's still a choice. And realizing that gives you freedom and control over your life. So I hope this part comes across to you guys. If not, please send me an email and I will explain it in some more detail again. So what has been the thread that is holding all this information together? Here's the recap. Thriving is all about being you. It's about feeling whole, embracing and accepting yourself for who you are, and keeping balance between your thoughts, emotions, body, and spirit. If you emphasize just one aspect of your life, you'll only grow in that area. And the other areas will feel neglected and will try to get your attention as well. For instance, if you only focus on feeding your body right, your soul might start asking for nutrition too. And that leads us to the last topic of this training, cultivating self-love. So what do all people ultimately want? Happiness, right? Everything we do, everything we strive for, we hope it will make us happy. And there's the catch. Nothing ever will. Of course, you'll be happy when you get what you've always dreamed of, but such happiness only lasts a moment. And then you realize that nothing's really changed. So you set another goal that you expect will make you happy, and so on and so forth. So here's the deal. Real joy comes from within. You're not on your way to happiness. Happiness is the way. And to tap into that natural joy, we need to strip away everything that's holding us back from being our authentic selves. For instance, we need to get rid of our negative beliefs, limiting decisions, emotional baggage, and blocks. But also reevaluate our surroundings and our relationships. When you start reconnecting with yourself, you'll connect to others in a whole new way. We need to realize that everything we need is already there within us. And this is a pretty simple principle, but far from easy to put into practice. Our Western society is performance driven. Even if your parents accepted and loved you for who you are, the school system probably did its part in teaching you you're just not good enough. Sometimes, to tap into our joy, we need to peel off layers of cultural, religious, and educational rules and beliefs that we've picked up along the way. And in my experience, the first step to doing all that is focusing on self-love. So to help you on your journey of discovering yourself and learning to love, accept, and appreciate yourself a little more, I want to share 3 exercises with you. Exercise number 1. This is a simple question. What would a person who loves themselves do? If you have issues with taking good care of yourself or setting boundaries, each time you need to make a decision, ask yourself the following question. What would a person who truly loves themselves do in my situation? And then just do it. I often recommend the 5-second rule here. I even have a video on YouTube on it. And this is what it says. As soon as you come to a conclusion, reach a decision, or think it would be good for me to XYZ, immediately take action. Take the first step. For instance, when you feel it's good to go on a walk, don't think about it and all the other things you feel you have to do. Just take your coat, put your shoes on, get the dog or whatever, and get your foot out the door. The rest will follow. Get in the flow of that action, and I promise you'll feel great doing this because it's really listening to yourself and what's good for you. So don't think about it because your mind will try to take over and you'll get flushed with hundreds of excuses to not do what you feel is right for you and wind up doing something else. So remember, you are the boss. You control your mind, not the other way around. The 5-second rule will help you in taking the first step towards constructive behavior and self-love. The second thing I want to recommend is focusing on the things that are going right. We as human beings are naturally drawn to the negative. We focus on our problems, we try to fix things, and we love us some drama. So it's not surprising that we get caught in negative thinking that in turn flips the scale between good and bad things happening in our life to the negative side. So it may seem that nothing is going right in your life. This has more to do with our focus than anything else. So what I suggest you do is intentionally focus your attention on things that are going right. Take a piece of paper or a notepad and lay it beside your bed. And each night before you go to sleep, I want you to write down at least 2 things that went great that day. Something you're proud of or turned out better than you expected. This can be things like, I cooked a nice meal, I dressed nicely, I handled a stressful situation in a great way, or I followed up on my appointments. And if you think about it, these are quite awesome achievements. So much planning, decisiveness, motivation, discipline, and even luck is involved here that you can't be but proud of yourself doing these even ordinary daily things. And I want you to really celebrate. Let the universe know you want more of this great feeling. So when you arrive somewhere safely, celebrate. Well, the third big key to feeling happy is gratitude. Practice being grateful. You can be thankful for even the hard times in your life. So if you haven't already adopted this attitude towards life and its experiences, I want to invite you to find out for yourself how this simple tip will influence your mood, health, and life. So, now I want to talk to you about the last and maybe most important tool to get from surviving to thriving. The real shift. And this is getting into action. As we saw before, mindset is everything. So how do you make the necessary shifts to bridge the gap between where you are and where you want to be? Well, this kind of online training, like this webinar, is a great way to take information in, and it gives you the opportunity to go through a little process yourself. So by joining this webinar today, you already took an important step. And I want to congratulate you on that and celebrate that you showed up for yourself. As Vanessa always says, showing up is 90% of the success. But understanding what to do and experiencing a small shift is not enough. To make actual changes happen, to break through limiting decisions and bad habits, your action is required. Daily, persistent, and devoted action. So what now? I know from my own experience that when you stop here, the benefits of the acquired knowledge will also stop here. Maybe you'll remember some of the exercises I talked about, or maybe some of the information will stick with you. Scientists say it will be only 5% of what I told you. So that's not really promising. Also, following through on intentions and really changing your habits and behavior is not an easy task. And let me tell you about my own experience with this kind of learning. I've read a lot of books over the last years. I educated myself on different topics. I watched webinars, followed coaches online, subscribed to their newsletters. I knew everything I needed to know to lead an amazing life. But as time went by, nothing happened. Nothing changed. And why? Because I didn't put into practice what I had learned, and I didn't follow through on it. So for me, it wasn't until I chose to actually take action that things started to change for me. And it wasn't until I decided to get a business coach myself that my business results, as well as my personal growth, skyrocketed. Having someone there to support me and guide me has made all the difference. So this is also something I want to offer you. I want to lend you a helping hand. So I decided to open up a few spots in my calendar for all the wonderful people who have watched this entire webinar training. Since you're still here, I'm guessing you're really invested in your personal growth. And I want to encourage you to take the next step. So this is an offer you shouldn't resist. What I'm offering is a free 30-minute breakthrough session with me. And this is how it works. In a minute, you'll get an application link. This will allow you to apply for a free call with me. And this call will be all about you, your struggles and desires. We'll focus on what you need to get into action and get lasting results. This offer is especially for professionals and entrepreneurs or aspiring entrepreneurs who feel stuck, are sick of the way things are going, want to make a change in their life, are willing to take action, fully embrace my holistic approach, and are committed to themselves and their results. I cannot work on your problems by myself. I need your help. So who is this not for? I don't want neither you or me to waste each other's time. So what's the best fit? You know, when you're someone who isn't attracted to my way of teaching, or if you're not motivated to take action and commit to your results, or if you know you just want to complain and make excuses and you're not really devoted to yourself, right? And you're not ready to invest in your personal development or just want, a simple chat, that won't work. You won't benefit from our call. Also when you believe you are beyond help, I don't believe you could ever be, but there are some people who think they are, or just want to gather information, you won't benefit from this free call. So anyone who's not serious about their personal or professional growth, for those people, this call is not for. So I want to emphasize this. I rely completely on our collaboration and your willingness to take action. So I want to be clear about the sort of person who I think will truly benefit from this offer. And the better the fit, the better the result. It's a win-win situation, really. Now, this call is your chance to work with me one-on-one and have 30 minutes to pick my brain and gain some clarity for yourself and take important steps towards your wellness breakthrough. But I want to warn you, time is a factor here. So if you're convinced that talking to me will help you, give yourself permission and jump right in. Remember the 5-second rule. If it feels right, act on it. If it sounds right, act on it. I really wouldn't want you to miss out on this opportunity. So here it is. To apply for a session with me, please go to this specific address, which is only available to viewers of this webinar. It's getyourwellnessbreakthrough.com/breakthrough-thingy-session. You'll be guided through the rest of the process from there, and we can talk in English or Dutch. So we've come to the end of this webinar training, and I want to really thank you from the bottom of my heart for watching. I want to close off with a quote of mine. A lot of people fear change. They stay in a situation as long as the pain and frustration are manageable. The willingness to change comes when the feelings of discomfort and agony become greater than their fear and staying is no longer an option. Since we know that change, in the end, is inevitable, why not choose change now? So I want to thank you again for watching, and I'm looking forward to hearing from you.
Aww. This was awesome, Kinga. We had so many. I'm going to take myself off on mute. Hopefully the echo is not there anymore, but people have just totally enjoyed the content. We got tons and tons of people making comments and saying this is awesome. Elizabeth says, great quote. We have, I had a few questions in here. One of the questions Elizabeth asked is that she has a business. She has a few businesses and she really wants to get on her health, her wellness training, her wellness coaching business going, and she wants to know how to avoid burnout. Like, how do I thrive with my passion, burnout? And Grace also has a question about wanting to take her work abroad. So what do you have to say about that? How can people, have a business, but also, or put something new into action and not let the stress, get to them?
Having a business, I hear the echo again. Having a business and avoiding burnout is a major topic. It's really important, and this is something I know everything about. You know, I've been there. I've been there several times. I had one burnout myself, an actual one, but since then, you know, I struggled a bit. You know, so each year from then on. It took me to realize that I wasn't doing, you know, the right things, that I was still, you know, I was an entrepreneur then already, but still not doing the things I really love, you know, still feeling stuck, still feeling not free enough. And it really just felt like a job again, right? So as soon as I opened myself up to everything that was there, that was already, you know, within me and on my path, I really started to thrive. And I'm working my ass off. I really am. And I'm feeling so great. I have so much energy. I feel healthy. I sleep, you know, good. There's not a problem because, you know, we get stressed out from not doing the things that we love, that are aligned with our whole being. So that's something, you know, that you really should pay attention to. So, you know, if you'd like to talk about that some more, please get on the call, you know, 30 minutes with me. It's a free call. No, you're very, very welcome. I want to share, you know, my own experiences with you and hopefully inspire you to not get a burnout.
Yeah, this is awesome. And a very generous offer also, King. I've put the link here inside the chat. So if you want to schedule a breakthrough session with Kinga, she is a rock star. She's a psychologist turned coach who, you know, really rocks her talk. And I absolutely loved all of the content that you shared with the listeners here today. People were taking furious notes. A lot of people saying, great webinar. I love Kinga. Thank you so much. And thank you, Kinga, for being here and sharing with us. So please do go ahead, take her up on her offer. She's a rock star, a living, live singing rock star, and also a mindset rock star. You know, because this really is the intention. You know, to inspire you with the tools at work. And it may sound simple, these things, but it really is your thinking. It really is, you know, allowing love to come and lead your life. And infuse your life, and then wow, what is possible? All of the thriving comes flying back into your experience. So these are amazing tips, and I'm so happy that you were here joining us, Kinga. Thank you everyone for joining us. We are going to see you all next week on the 10K 30-day live weekly webinar. I'm your host, Vanessa Simpkins. I absolutely adore each and every one of you. Congratulate yourself for showing up and watching this, and keep showing up. Show up for your life. Show up for your goals, for your dreams. And we'll see you guys real soon. Thank you, Kinga. Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Bye-bye.